The Rangers have tied it at 4. Lifted to right field. Patterson backpedaling, can't get it, over his head and off the wall, and the Rangers win it 5-4. Rangers ballpark in Arlington looking like it might be at capacity tonight after one of the most memorable walk-off wins in some time. The Rangers ready for Game 3 against the Toronto Blue Jays. And welcome, Dave Barnett along with Tom Grieve. The Rangers are the first rotation in baseball to have 3 10-game winners, and tonight Alexio Gondo tries to become the first of that group to win his 11th game. And if he's anything like what he was earlier this week in Anaheim, you like his chances.
Yeah, I like his chances based on what he's done this year for sure. You know, before that start in Anaheim, he had 13 days off. The Rangers wanted to rest him after the All-Star break, make sure he's strong in September. He said he felt fine and didn't need it. And the way he pitched in Anaheim, pretty much believe what he said, because he didn't look like he missed any time at all. He had his fastball where it normally is in the mid-90s. He worked in a terrific slider. For 8 innings, he only gave up 4 or 5 hits, didn't give up a run. Pretty much a typical start for Alexi, nonplussed as he walks off the mound. And he goes tonight against Toronto, trying to make it 3 in a row against the Blue Jays and pitch another good game.
Brett Cecil, who has been struggling of late, will be on the mound tonight for Toronto. They will try to avoid being swept. The Rangers going for what would be their 8th sweep of the 2011 season. And our own Bouvet Harmon getting in the spirit early. Lineups and first pitch are next. is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Check out the Ford F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. By Jack in the Box. Jack's really big chicken sandwich combo is back for only $3.99. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. Expected to be a big crowd, but with a walk-off that may be around 10,000, it would appear this might be a capacity house tonight at Rangers Ballpark. As the Rangers go for the sweep, and we go down below to Emily Jones.
Well, Dave, as you well know, last year and this year, this team has maintained that they are less concerned with results and more concerned with the way in which they are playing baseball. And you saw that last night. The fact that this team was able to execute 3 straight bunts, and then Josh Hamilton gets walked, sets up Michael Young, and he drives in the winning run with the power, really does speak to the versatility from top to bottom of this lineup and the fact that they were able to execute it when it mattered the most.
We want to be, as like you said, as versatile as we possibly can be. I think any offense, you don't want to just rely on one way to score, because if teams take that away, you're in trouble. So we want to be able to, if teams are taking something away, we want to be able to adjust and find different ways to manufacture some offense.
Michael Young with tonight's Geico quote of the game, and I asked Michael if it got him a little extra juiced up to go to the plate after they walked Josh Hamilton to get to him. He said, no, I'm not an emotional hitter. It made sense for them to do that, and I was just treating it as any other at-bat. However, his good friend and teammate Ian Kinsler said, of course he got more fired up at that. Did you see the first swing he took when he got out of to the plate? So Michael would never admit it, but Ian thinks maybe there was a little something extra that Michael had going in that game-winning hit last night, guys.
He is only human.
Yeah, you can understand what they're doing, and you can agree that you might have done the same thing if you were the manager. But when you step into the box, you're stepping into the box to make sure you prove to that manager that he made the wrong choice.
Well, Michael at third base tonight. Last night it was Chris Davis, as Adrian Beltre is in day 2 of his 15-game trip to the disabled list with a hamstring issue. And first pitch of the night outside to Yunel Escobar as Alexi Ogando tries to go 11-3.
Yeah, the 18 starts couldn't have gone a whole lot better for Alexi. 2.72 ERA is the 8th best ERA in the league. His last 3 starts, he's 3-0 with a 2.08 ERA. And he's pitched well in this ballpark. You love your hometown pitchers to be able to pitch well in their hometown ballpark. And this is not always an easy park to pitch in. But Alexi's record 7-1, 2.54 ERA in 10 home starts is really excellent.
Temperature for our first pitch tonight, 105 degrees. That ties the record as the hottest game in the history of Rangers Ballpark. Established 1994, and a leadoff base hit by Escobar to right field as we look at the rest of John Farrell's starting lineup for the Blue Jays tonight. As brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Eric Thames next, then Bautista back at third base. Adam Lind, first base batting cleanup. Encarnacion is the DH. Snyder in left. Aaron Hill at second. Rajai Davis, former Oakland A, in center field. And again, Sebia batting ninth at catcher on a home run binge of the first 2 games. Eric Thames had a big night last night. 2 for 4, a double, an RBI triple, and a run scored in their 3-run 6th inning, the inning that almost decided it in the Blue Jays' favor. Thames, a 7th-round draft pick out of Pepperdine, 2008.
Yeah, he looks like a good young hitter. They like him, batting him second. Talked about him a little bit yesterday in Double-A last year. He hit over 20 home runs, knocked in over 100 runs. Hasn't had a whole lot of minor league experience. And that's kind of what you hope with your college players coming from top-notch programs, that if they have the talent to get into the big leagues, they get there fairly quick. And Thames has definitely done that.
Question, a lot of people are asking John Farrell today, why replace Thames with Corey Patterson in right field? And we saw the result of that. It's been a very bad year defensively for Patterson. And the thinking is, you got a young player in Thames,
give him a chance to show what he can do defensively in a game-deciding inning like that.
Yeah, I'm sure in John Farrell's mind, his decision was made because he thought that gave his team the best chance to win the game. But it didn't turn out that way. It looked like Patterson had a lot of problems going after that ball that Michael Young hit. He turned around a couple of times. The ball hit on the warning track. It didn't hit off the wall or anything like that. I think a lot of people thought that was a catchable ball.
3 balls and 2 strikes for Thames with Jose Bautista in the on-deck circle. And the way to face him is with the minimal number of runners aboard. As Ogando gives up a line drive to Kinsler and a double play.
Well, you asked to face the minimum amount of people on base. You got it. A good break for the Rangers right there. Thames with another good at bat, another good swing. Hit a line drive at Ian, who calmly made the throw back to first base. And what could have been a lot worse? That ball is directed anywhere else. It's a hard hit ball to right field. Rangers turn it into a double play.
So making sure that throw to Moreland is nowhere near the slide back into the bag by Escobar.
Yankee game ended almost like that today. A's had the bases loaded against Mariano Rivera. And David DeJesus lined out to first. Turned into a double play.
Well, these should be some interesting at-bats tonight. Bautista, top power hitting major leaguer for the 2nd straight year against Ogando and his high 90s heat.
It's interesting to watch the radar gun speeds when the pitchers face Bautista. Last night, Matt, was around 91, 93 most of the time. Bautista comes up and it's 95. Ogando was 93, 94 to the first 2 hitters. Bautista comes up, it's 96, 97.
Tough to get Bautista to go fishing for a slider, but Alexi tried it anyway.
It's got to be a little bit closer. Has to be just a little bit out of the strike zone. He has a pretty good eye at the plate.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Bautista held as much in check as is reasonable in the first 2 games of this series.
Well, the pregame show, we showed his RBI hit yesterday. And sure, he got a hit, drove in a run, but it was a pretty good changeup. He hit it right off the end of the bat and just blooped a little hit into right field. Not much you can do about that. That's a good eye right there. That shows you the kind of eye and plate discipline that he has, that he can lay off that. It's a 2-2 pitch. He's seen a slider and a fastball. It's very close to being a strike, and he took it. Not many guys are going to take that pitch.
And that one as well. And after getting ahead 0-2, Ogando issues the walk. It's the 81st walk drawn this year by Bautista. That's 11 more than anyone else in the American League.
Yeah, you're going to pitch Bautista carefully, but when you come right at him and throw 2 fastballs right by him for an 0-2 count, you're not quite as pleased with the walk as you would be under different circumstances. That was a chance where if Alexi made a good pitch, he had a pretty good chance to get him right there.
So Adam Lynn, who has also been held as much in check as apparently is reasonable against the Rangers. One of the recent real Ranger killers has gone 1 for 4 in each of the first 2 games here, including an RBI double in the first inning last night. But in his first 35 games against the Rangers, far more than an RBI per game. With a .298 average, 15 homers and 42 runs batted in. 21 games here at the ballpark. 10 homers, 29 runs batted in, and a .326 average. And 3 pitches, all it takes for Ogando to take care of Lind. Blue Jays, a single, a walk, a double play, and the Kinsler of the Rangers coming to bat. For the Rangers, Ian Kinsler, as usual, leading things off at second base in the Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Followed by Elvis at short, Josh Hamilton at left, Michael Young cleanup hitting third baseman tonight with Cruz in right, Mike Napoli batting sixth and catching. Chris Davis is the DH. Craig Gentry in center against the lefty Mitch Moreland at first, and they will face 25-year-old Brett Cecil.
Well, he's had 8 starts. He's spent some time in the minor leagues this year. His ERA is up there a little bit. 15 earned runs allowed in 7 innings against the Rangers. 8 of those came in 2 innings in his last start against the Rangers in Toronto last year. .340 opponent's average with runners in scoring position. That's not a good number to have.
Ground ball to Escobar, and on 2 pitches, Cecil takes care of Ian Kinsler. Behind Cecil defensively, Snyder in left, Davis in center, and Thames in right. With Bautista at third, Escobar at short, Aaron Hill at second, Adam Lind at first. JP Arancibia, impressive rookie, catching. And speaking of impressive, Elvis Andrus last night, 0 for 4, but impressive in that he still showed how you can help win a game without a base hit. With a suicide squeeze, bringing home Mike Napoli for the tying run at the bottom of the 9th inning. And the Rangers stringing together 3 straight bunts, 3 sacrifices in a single inning, tying the major league record. It's the 15th time it's happened, first time in the American League in almost 20 years to the day.
Wow.
July 26, 1991, Minnesota against Milwaukee. Also had a 3 sacrifice inning.
Well, when two men got on base, and Mitch Moreland, or Ian Kinsler, was going to bunt them to second and third, Ron Washington had already told Elvis, look, if Ian sacrifices the runners to second and third, first pitch the squeeze is on. So they didn't have to give a sign to Elvis. He already knew that that squeeze was going to be on, and they worked it to perfection.
Little chopper up the middle, and Aaron Hill handles out number 2 in the Ranger first.
Generally on a squeeze play, if the batter doesn't know until he gets in the batter's box, the third base coach will go over and give usually a verbal sign to the runner and then a hand sign to the hitter, who has to answer in some way to let the runner know that he got the sign. You don't want the runner sprinting home if the batter didn't get the sign. So there's usually some kind of sign from the hitter, whether you touch a part of your body or pick up dirt, kick your spike with your bat, some little indication that you know that the squeeze is on. Managers look for that. Elvis already knew the squeeze was on, so he didn't even have to look for a sign. Therefore, if the other manager was looking at Elvis to see if he was trying to communicate with the runner at third base, he didn't see anything.
That is just foul down the right field line. Josh Hamilton again facing this unusual, I guess, creative overshift with the third baseman Bautista playing short right field. And Friday night he threw Hamilton out from out there, one of the most bizarre 5-3 putouts you'll see. And a strikeout by Brett Cecil. He complete a 1-2-3 bottom half of the first inning. Needed just 10 pitches. Time.
All right, thank you, Dave. Ranger fans looking for the sweep tonight, you bet. Let's get the sweep before the game. Big happenings in Community Corner. About 15 young people were recipients of the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation scholarship programs. They will receive scholarships courtesy the Michael Young, Nolan Ryan, Johnny Oates, and Mark Holt scholarship funds. And find out more, they're going to help educate the young guys throughout the school year. And to find out more, you can log on to texasrangers.com/foundation. Let's go Rangers, right? There we go. All right, way to go.
All right, and here is DH Edwin Encarnacion. A ball and a strike. Encarnacion struggling in this series. 0 for 8 and 0 for his last 12. And 1 ball and 2 strikes. Before he came here, he was one of the hotter hitters they had. Last 10 games before this series, he was hitting .436. But Ogando gets out in front and finishes him off at 97 miles an hour, his second straight strikeout.
Well, he had a pretty good swing at the slider before that. Pulled it foul, and then he just throws the fastball right by him, 97 miles an hour.
One gone in the second, and that brings up to left fielder Travis Snyder. And a first pitch breaking ball in for a strike to Snyder.
That's more like a curveball than his harder slider, which is a little flatter and a little harder. That was 78 miles an hour.
Back to heat charging Andrews just in time to dip Snyder for the second out.
Nice play by Elvis. Had to come from the outfield grass all the way to the infield grass and make a nice play on the run.
Snyder running pretty well, but hitless in the series now, 0 for 9. And with 2 outs, here's Aaron Hill, second baseman. And again, that first pitch curve for a strike.
It's tough to walk up there and jump on the first breaking ball you see. So if he can throw that pitch for strike 1, it just makes it more difficult for the hitter who's already behind in the count and hasn't even seen his fastball yet.
And one more thing in the scouting report for future opponents to have to consider. First pitch not always coming in at 97, 98.
And I think that's the thing that's really allowed Alexei to be as successful as he's been, is his ability to use his breaking pitches in addition to his great fastball and throw him for strikes. Still working on his changeup. Doesn't throw a lot of them, but at times it shows some pretty good potential. He really hasn't developed into a strikeout pitcher. They don't hit the ball very hard off him, and a lot of the outs are weakly hit balls. But I think he'll get more strikeouts as his changeup gets better and better. See you later.
Call strike 3. 1, 2, 3 go the Blue Jays on 11 pitches, including his second and third strikeouts. Connect, the ultimate online experience for fans. Log on to take part in the most interactive forum during Rangers games. Stats, trends, exclusive analysis, and live Twitter feeds. Plus, you can even share your thoughts with the game broadcast. Fox Sports Game Connect, now available on foxsportssouthwest.com. Bottom of the second, Young Cruz and Napoli against Brett Cecil. And the first pitch grounded through the hole. Base hit, Michael Young. He continues to absolutely wear out this Blue Jay pitching staff this series.
Yeah, he keeps his average now over 330, as hot as he's been. With that just about halfway between the third baseman, who's way off the line, and the shortstop. Neither one of them can quite get to it. Bautista dives for it. Not sure he could have made a play after he got up, even if he did catch it.
Michael now 7 for 10 in the series. And that brings up Nelson Cruz, who Friday night had a career day and sends this one high, deep left field. Snyder, though, in front of the track for the first out, as Nelly just a little bit under that one.
Yeah, that's one of those balls that the wind doesn't do anything to help that ball. In fact, I think the wind knocked that ball down. There's not a lot of wind, but the way the wind acts in this ballpark, if it's hit high, it tends to knock down fly balls. And he probably got underneath it a little too much. He knows it as he puts his head down and jogs toward first base. Had a great swing at it. Hit it on the good part of the bat. Just hit it a little bit too high.
So 1 out, 1 on for Mike Napoli. He played a big role in the decisive bottom of the ninth, and he goes after the first pitch. And Tom, makes you think something in the report says Brett Cecil's first pitch is going to be something to your liking, because Young, Cruz, and Napoli have all gone after it here in the second inning.
Yeah, I think a lot of hitters go up there saying to themselves, I'm going to look for a fastball on the first pitch, and if I get a good one to hit, I'm going to let it rip. You hear a lot of, in scouting reports, first ball, fastball hitter. And a lot of hitters are like that. And Cecil started the year off with 4 starts in April and then got sent to the minor leagues. His ERA was up around 7. Came back for 1 start, then went back to the minor leagues. And since he's come back, he's had 3 starts and pitched a little bit better. 21 innings, a 3.43 ERA in his last 3 starts. The former high draft choice, 38th pick in the 2007 draft, college pitcher, University of Maryland. Won 15 games last year for the Blue Jays. Led them in wins.
And now behind Napoli, 3 balls and a strike.
And Napoli's at bat obviously was the key to the 9th inning. Getting the leadoff hitter on. He was behind in the count with 2 strikes. And then laid off all the off-speed pitches. Zepchinski ended up walking him. And that pretty much set the stage for the game-winning rally. A good at bat. Boink.
Mike scoring the tying run on that suicide squeeze by Andrews. And 3-2 here against Cecil, who was a closer for the Maryland Terrapins. And trying to make the transition to Major League starter. They've worked with him a lot on repeating his delivery, staying mechanically sound on a multi-inning basis, obviously, which was not in his job description at Maryland. And before that, at DeMatha High School, maybe the best-known high school in the country for basketball. But he was a high school baseball star at DeMatha. Grew up in a family of Yankee fans, and as he was a developing young pitcher, imitated the delivery of Andy Pettit as much as he could. And he strikes out Napoli for out number 2. Second strikeout for Cecil.
Oh, he set up that changeup really well. With a high fastball that Mike fouled off. And then he comes back and makes that look just like a fastball. And keeps it in a great location, down and out of the strike zone. That was a good pitch.
So he's taken care of a couple of big outs on strikeouts. Hamilton doing the first. Napoli here in the second. With 2 outs, here is Chris Davis DHing after playing third base last night, called up for the third time this year from AAA Round Rock, where he absolutely raked against any and all comers in the Pacific Coast League. 1 for 3, the RBI single last night, which put the Rangers on top 2-1 in the fourth inning. And a big swing and a miss, the off-speed pitch.
Pretty good slider. Right-hand hitters have hit .311 against Cecil. Left-hand hitters .239. But based on the statistics anyway, he's pitching much better right now than he was at the beginning of the year.
High pop-up on a fastball. Out of the shallow left. Snyder still coming. Wind knocks it down. And Cecil works around the leadoff single on the first pitch of the inning to Michael Young, and we're scoreless after 2. Sports Southwest is brought to you by Geico Insurance, where 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. By AT&T, rethink possible. And by Hyundai. People are talking about Hyundai uncensored. See what they're saying at Hyundai.com. Ready for the third inning. Dave Barnett and Tom Grieve. Rangers ballpark just about packed tonight. First pitch of the inning to Rajai Davis. Popped into short left, and Andrews backs out for the out.
Yeah, Ogando had to throw a lot of pitches in the first inning, somewhere around 20. But he had a nice quick second inning. He's off to a great start here in the third inning.
Gave up a leadoff single to Yonel Escobar, who was immediately doubled up on a line drive by Thames to Kinsler at second base. Then a walk to Bautista, but since then 5 in a row set down, 3 on strikes. And here's the guy who's been the most challenging hitter for the Rangers staff in the first 2 games of this series, J.P. Arancibia. 3 for 6 in the first 2 games, all 3 hits, solo home runs, leading off innings.
He looks like he likes to go up to the plate and try to pull the ball. He's hit the ball on the inside part of the plate really well. And that last pit fastball was away. There's one in, but at 95 miles an hour, he wasn't able to get the head of the bat out on it.
Kind of coming out of nowhere, too. Before Friday, he had gone 13 games without homering. Had hit only 2 since June 9th. And lifts this one into shallow right field. Our Ford leaderboard will show the top of the earned run average picture in both leagues last year and this year. You have Johnson of the Marlins, and then you have Alexi Ogando in his first 18 major league starts this year, and with terrific relief work last year. 233 earned run average, second in baseball. That is truly remarkable. So now begins the second time through the order, and here's Escobar, who singled on the fourth pitch of the game.
You know, the other number that's interesting for Alexi is kind of a newer statistic. They call it WHIP. Walks plus hits per innings pitched. And he's fifth in baseball in that regard. So it not only shows a pitcher who's tough to hit, but also a pitcher who has good control to go along with it. Pitchers like Verlander, Beckett, Weaver, and Cole Hamels are the only pitchers in baseball with a better ratio of walks plus hits per innings pitched.
So far in this game, one of each.
He allows just about one base runner per inning on a walk or a hit. That's pretty good.
And against right-handed batters, he basically doesn't allow anything. Toughest to hit in baseball, a 160 average for right-handed pitchers against Ogando. Overall average against him, sixth in the American League, 209. And lefties are really up against it. So Escobar extends the at bat.
Yeah, Escobar is a good leadoff hitter. He's walked 45 times. On base percentage is close to 380 now. And you saw him lay off a tough slider, borderline pitch down and away. Good indication that he's got pretty good bat control.
And he gets a base hit driven out into the gap in right center field. Gentry fires it back in to hold him to his second straight single. So Escobar batting from the right side, 2-2.
Gets that fastball right in the good part of the bat. Stayed up a little bit for him, middle of the plate.
Blue Jays have their third base runner against Ogando. And here is Thames, first time up. He hit a sharp line drive, but right at Kinsler, who started the double play, 4-3, doubling off Escobar. Thames last night, 2 for 4, a double, an RBI triple. Scored twice. And again goes to the right side. A base hit past Kinsler. Escobar will take third, and a 2-out, 2 base hit rally now has Blue Jays on the corners for Bautista.
Well, Thames had a good at bat the first time up. He lined into a double play. He finds a hole with that fairly well hit ground ball to right field.
So here is Bautista, who walked his first time up. How many times can you keep him from having his usual effect on games? 31 home runs this year. First in the majors by 5. He leads the American League over Curtis Granderson and Mark Teixeira. 69 runs batted in. That is 6th, 11 behind the leader, Adrian Gonzalez.
Well, just like the last time up, he jumps ahead of him. No balls and 2 strikes.
The big jump this year for Bautista in batting average, 330, which is virtually tied for second in the league with Michael Young. Last year he hit 260 while homering 54 times, driving in 124 runs. So same power or even better, add 70 points to the batting average, and that's what you're dealing with this year with Bautista. But again, Ogando takes care of him with high heat. 4th strikeout for Alexi, and that squashes down a potential third inning rally for the Blue Jays with a couple of 2-out base hits. You can still lock in postseason options with a Fans Choice 20 game plan. Enjoy the flexibility of selecting the 20 games you want. As Craig Gentry beats out an infield hit to begin the Ranger third.
Yeah, that was just an average bunt. That wasn't a great bunt. But the left-hand pitcher falls off the mound just enough to where it took him a little bit of time to get to it. And Gentry's speed takes care of the rest of it. He just beat that ball. Not many guys are going to beat that bunt out.
And Craig, over his last 8 games, 1 for 10. And Tom, there's a reason that Craig Gentry should not have very many long extended slumps in his career.
Yeah, with his speed, that should be a weapon. That should be something he doesn't shy away from for sure. We talked about Mike Trout, Peter Borges, 2 of the fleet outfielders for the Angels. Man, Craig's kind of right there with him.
Now Mitch Moreland, last night 2 for 3, including his first career sacrifice bunt in his 488th Major League plate appearance. But he was ready and executed when called on. This one he sends to left field. Snyder looking up, makes the catch up against the wall. Gentry was all the way to second base. Beats it back to first. As Snyder looked like didn't get a great read off the bat here, but had closing speed.
That's a pretty well hit ball. Second ball that the Rangers have hit well to left field. Nelly Cruz just got underneath one, hit it pretty deeply to left field. A nice play by Snyder to get back and catch that right in front of the wall.
The ball he's handled out there already in left. Top of the order in Kinsler, who grounded to short in the first.
Been another good day as far as the suites go, Dave. Got a bunch of people to get to today. Frances Schumann from LaGrange. She's in town for the game with her sister Janelle Schultz, her daughter Gayla Davidson. And she brought a huge batch of kolaches for us that I brought through the press box, and all the sports writers took care of them earlier in the night.
Off the fist and into the seats.
Patty Patek from Ennis sent up a huge batch of cookies.
How does she spell Patek?
P-A-T-A-K.
Not different Patek.
No,
okay.
Not the same. Patty wants to send a little happy anniversary note to her husband Gary. They've been married 3 years. Thank you for the cookies, Patty. The Satterfield family from Amarillo are here as well. They set up their family favorite lemon bars. Got those in the refrigerator. Saving them for later. We also had an amazing coincidence. Mildred Nesbitt from Longview, Texas, and also Danny and Judy Davis from Iowa Park, Texas, both sent up. Let me see exactly what they call those. Hang on, Dave. A little patience here. Peanut patties. And they're almost the exact same thing, so those are obviously pretty popular.
Have you taste tested them yet?
Yeah, they're good.
Is it a tie?
It's pretty much a tie.
They're identical.
In fact, Danny Davis is known as the Candy Man in Vernon, Texas. He brings them around to the banks and businesses around town. Thanks for sharing them with us, Danny and Judy. And also Mildred Nesbitt. Mildred's from Longview. So all sorts of sweets tonight. We have a 79th birthday wish to Bobby Martin. He's from Gainesville, watches every game. And also a get well wish to Mike McTighe, one of our tape operators. He's home recovering from shoulder surgery. Hope it's feeling better, Mike. And all that, and Ian's still at the bat. Not bad. Thanks for the long at bat, Ian.
Ian's still in there, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And thanks to all the thoughtful people who send the sweets up to us. I wish you could see the look on the sports writers' faces when we take a big box of them through the press box before the game. They've almost gotten used to it. Every day they look to us and see what we're going to bring them.
I wonder what the look would be on the sender's face if they knew they were going to end up in the sports writers.
I think they'd be glad to know that we're sharing them everywhere.
I hope so.
We also have a freezer full of Woolies frozen custard from Fort Worth. Didn't bring that through the press box. We're saving that up here. We can save that for days in the freezer. Thank you, guys. That's a yearly event now for the last 5 or 6 years.
Well, Kinsler runs the count full now in this extended second at bat against Brett Cecil. It's going to go at least 8 pitches. Cecil has allowed 2 base hits, leadoff hits, each of the second and third. Gentry at first after bunting his way on, takes off as this pop-up goes foul, and Adam Lind in the coach's box handles the second out. So Cecil finally wins that battle with Kinsler. And now here's Elvis Andrews, who grounded to second his first time up.
Yeah, the other note of interest, Dave Anderson, the Rangers' third base coach, and his wife Janet had twins on March 25th. And the twins, Georgia, Eleni, and Olivia Alexa, are making their debut at the stadium tonight. They're here with the coaches' wives and Ron Washington's wife. They're having a little welcome to the stadium party. So glad the twins could be here for the ball game tonight. Enjoy the game in the Arlington suite, ladies. Hopefully it'll be another Ranger win. And hopefully the twins will enjoy their first ball game.
Gentry at first. Remember, he's 12 for 12 stealing this year. Hill bobbles, still recovers in plenty of time. And for the second straight inning, Cecil works around a leadoff base hit. Scoreless after 3.
Blue Jays, Dave and Tom. Big-time actress in the house tonight, Pam Grier, a.k.a. Foxy Brown. Got to throw out the first pitch. What was that like, Pam?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to throw it down on the ground and see if he would dive for it. It's like a bunt pitch.
Not bad. Now, what brings you to Dallas?
Well, I'm here to celebrate the National Day of the Cowboy and the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum and its fundraising efforts, and, of course, the Pam Grier Community Garden in Fort Worth. And we're going to start a community garden that's going to feed a community and teach nutrition and lower diabetes and a lot of the diseases that are going on that are really unnecessary in the community.
Well, that is great as Ian Kinsler gets the ground out here. Yeah, got him out there. One quick question. What are you up to now? Understand that you are...
Sure.
Yeah, definitely, for sure, right there.
I'm a Rocky.
Well, we don't need to talk about the Rockies right now. Rangers right now. That's what are you up to as far as movie-wise going on? I understand you're shooting a movie in New Orleans. Is that right?
Right. I'm shooting a film with the Blair Underwood and T.D. Jakes. And it's a detective, it's a thriller.
There we go.
And I just finished, of course, Larry Crown with Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts is out. And my book, my memoir, has been re-released again, and it's going to be a film, and I'm meeting with directors on that as well. And I've got a film coming out with Russell Crowe that we shot in China, Man with Iron Fist, and I have another movie coming out with Bing Rames called Mafia, and a television series. So, I stay busy.
There we go. The busy Pam Grier. Good seeing you, and enjoy the rest of the game. Thank you, Dave.
How can I not?
Dave, my friend Tom Renoni is hoping she makes a sequel to Bucktown the Twilight People. She played the Panther Woman in that movie.
With co-star Fred the Hammer Williamson, right?
Yep, Fred the Hammer Williamson was in that.
That's Foxy Brown right there.
One of Tom's favorite movies, evidently.
Jim Knox gets all the great interviews. 1-2 pitch, ground ball, and Encarnacion thrown out by Michael Young. Michael back at third base tonight. 2 gone in the top of the fourth. And that brings up the left fielder Travis Snyder. 54 pitches, 38 strikes, just 16 balls from Alexio Gondo, who has struck out 4. Walked 1 and allowed 3 singles. And Snyder looking for his first hit of the series. 0 for 9, 5 strikeouts. Blue Jays have lost 2 very different games. 12-2 Friday, 5-4 in the second game of the series last night. And the Rangers going for their 8th series sweep of the year tonight. And they will need to win to stay 4 games up on the Angels, because the Angels won 9-3 at Baltimore today. Tyler Chatwood improved to 6-6. Jeremy Guthrie now 4-14. The loss for the Orioles. Tom, you're talking about Mike Trout earlier. Great speed, and he hit his first major league home run today for the Angels.
Yeah, I was watching that game this afternoon. Looked like it was going to be a pretty close game. It's 3-2 for most of the game. Nice pitch. Hard sinker.
Strikeout number 5 for Ogando. 1-2-3 go the Blue Jays on 9 pitches in the fourth. .com at Bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more by texting at BAT to 31826, or you can visit TexasRangers.com for details. And Brett Cecil faces Josh Hamilton to begin the Ranger half of the fourth. Josh struck out to end the first. Last night, 3 for 4. RBI triple. A run and his intentional walk set up Michael Young's bottom of the ninth 2-out, 2-strike heroics. Josh's 8th 3-hit game of the year. Brett Cecil has been tough for the Rangers to figure out. First 3 innings, only a leadoff single by Young in the second and a leadoff bunt single by Gentry in the third. Mixing ground balls and fly balls with the occasional strikeout. And the bat goes flying, but not too far in this case for Hamilton. Not as far as he can throw it anyway. Yeah, he can get it a good 40-50 feet beyond that toss. Fortunately, that one stayed on the field, out of the seats. And Cecil ready with the 1-2 pitch. Cecil against left-handed hitters this year, pretty tough. They hit .239 against him.
Keep it away, they're saying.
Same result. Josh strikes out again. 2 of Cecil's 3 strikeouts so far. Time to ask tonight's AT&T trivia question. What is the Rangers' record for most career walk-off hits? Michael Young last night, picking up his first in a couple of years, since April 19th, 2009 against Kansas City. And it was Michael's 7th career walk-off hit. The fact that I give you that, pretty good indication that he is not the answer to our question. But Tom, as he steps up into the cleanup role that has been manned so ably by Adrian Beltre, Michael's doing it at a great time, because these days he's good for, seems like 2-3 hits every night, at least, to run batted in every night.
Yeah, Michael, like a lot of good hitters, he's suited to hit anywhere in the lineup. He batted second for a lot of his career. He's hit third occasionally, and this year he's getting a chance to bat fourth, fifth, middle of the lineup. And he's been terrific with men in scoring position. Knocked in a lot of runs without hitting a lot of home runs. He's knocked in 67 runs. He's only hit 8 home runs. That shows you how many hits he's getting with men on base.
And Cecil trying to stay away from him as well. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Is this the case, Tom, so far of another guy featuring finesse?
Yeah, he's got pretty good finesse, but he's got a little sneaky fastball too. His fastball can creep up there around 91 or 92. And he's had pretty good slider. He's thrown some changeups. I think he's just done a pretty good job of mixing up his pitches. Fastball is a little sneaky. The Rangers aren't having a lot of good swings at it, and he's thrown it in pretty good places too. And so far, he's pitched pretty well.
And it's the finesse types that tend to have more success against this Ranger lineup.
There's a big guy on the mound, kind of throws straight over the top. Probably a little tough to pick up. Got some deception to his delivery.
Thames racing in to make the catch and retire Michael. And that's 2 gone down the bottom of the 4th inning. He brings up Nelson Cruz. Cecil in his first 2 starts against the Rangers didn't look anything like this. 7 innings, 15 earned runs, 17 base hits, including a couple of homers. Cruz first time up, flied out to Snyder in left field. There's another of the adjustments with Beltre out, has Cruz moving up from the 6 to the 5 hole. Chris Davis tonight DHing, played third last night. We'll also see Chris probably at some point play some first, maybe even some left field. Chopper handled by Escobar and dug out by Lind. And for Brett Cecil, he has his second 1-2-3 inning. We remain scoreless through 4. Rangers' record for most career walk-off hits is 9. Ruben Sierra and Rusty Greer, co-holders of that record. Michael Young last night coming up with his 7th to tie Juan Gonzalez and Richie Zisk from the 70s era Rangers.
The one I remember from Ruben was a home run. We tied it up against, I think it was Roger Clemens in the 9th inning. Might have been Gino Petralli hit a home run. And then Ruben hit the game winner off Calvin Schiraldi back at the old stadium. I know he had a lot more than that, but that's the one that stands out for me.
Aaron Hill struck out looking his first time up. As we're joined by Mark McLemore. How many walk-off hits did you have?
Oh, my goodness.
Too many to count?
Not quite. Well, we didn't call them walk-off hits then. I probably had maybe 4 or 5 that I can remember. Back then, well, I do remember my first home run was a walk-off, and that was a good one.
Yeah, back then they're just called game-winning hits.
That's it.
Wow, 3 straight breaking balls from 76 miles an hour to 82 miles an hour. Pretty nice pitching right there, Matt.
That's very nice pitching.
Glad it was Aaron Hill and not me, because I would have done the same thing.
Well, you look at what he did, the first time through the lineup, challenging everybody with that 95, 96 mile an hour fastball. And now that second time through, guys are geared up for it. And now he's throwing 75.
There's 4 straight breaking balls for strikes. The other thing he's doing, it looks like he's taking a little bit off some of them. They're not just all hard sliders. Some of them look a little bit more like curveballs. In any event, he's throwing a lot of strikes with them.
Well, you got to credit the guy behind the plate for calling the game.
Yep.
Mike Napoli's doing a tremendous job. We all know he's got a tremendous record when he's behind the plate, and this is the reason why.
Davis sends a foul pop back out of play. And Mike Napoli in Anaheim talked about how much he learned catching for Mike Scioscia, former great defensive catcher with the Dodgers, but also how difficult it was, because it sounds like Socha is one of these guys who, if you're his catcher, you really can't do a good enough job. You know, the ceiling is that high.
It is that high. Mike Socha was one of the best behind the plate, and he expects a lot from a guy behind the plate because he knows all about what it takes to do that job back there. So he expects an awful lot, and I'm sure Tommy Lasorda expected a lot out of him.
Ooh, Andrews gobbles up the sharp ground ball to retired Davis.
Haven't been a lot of balls hit hard off Alexi tonight, but that's one of them. Elvis makes it look easy.
That's not nearly as easy as he makes it look.
No way.
What's the toughest part of that? The pickup or to turn and get that quick and accurate throw off?
The turn and throw is the easy part. The pickup on that last hop, that ball could have come up a little bit higher or stayed down, and that's the toughest part of that play there. But Elvis did exactly what he was supposed to do. He kept his glove low, so if the ball does come up, he still has enough time to react to it and catch it. So the spin and throw, that's the easy part.
And Ogando, 1 ball and 1 strike down to Aaron Sebia, who flied to right his first trip. 6 in a row retired now by Alexi since the 2 singles in the 3rd with 2 outs by Escobar and Thames. And another ground ball left side. Michael Young handles this one. 12 pitch, 1-2-3, top half of the 5th inning. The Napoli-Ogando combo again very sharp. Southwest is brought to you by Hyundai. People are talking about Hyundai uncensored. See what they're saying at Hyundai.com. Mike Napoli set to lead off the Ranger 5th. They've had a tough time solving Brett Cecil so far. He's shutting them out on just 2 hits through 4. Has struck out 3, including Napoli, his first time up. And Mark McLemore again with us here for the bottom half of the 5th inning. We saw some defensive handiwork by Elvis Andrus in the top half, and now we're going to talk about his contribution to the 9th inning last night after Mike Napoli worked the pinch hit leadoff walk to set the stage. And he was on third base when Elvis had his contribution. This was carrying well out to deep right center, and on the track Davis is there for the first out.
The Rangers only have a couple of hits, but they've hit 3 long fly balls that they've just missed. Nelly Cruz just missed one. Mitch Moreland hit one to the wall and left, and Mike hits this 400 feet, but just got underneath it a little bit. So no runs, but 3 swings that came pretty close.
Chris Davis flied to left deep his first time up. Now this is last night, Napoli tying run at third, suicide squeeze laid down by Elvis Andrews. Mac, how does he execute that so well?
Well, the first thing as a hitter, you're trying to make sure that you just bunt the ball no matter where it's thrown, even if it's thrown at you. And if you look at that pitch, it was about 6 to 8 inches inside off the plate, but Elvis was still able to get wood on the ball. And you're not really trying to bunt it in a direction. You're just trying to keep it in fair territory. So even though it was bunted back to the pitcher, it was still effective enough to get that run scored. But if you watch this ball, it's supposed to be outside, but it runs inside. And Elvis still gets it down and makes sure that it's on the ground and not a pop-up, because that's a double play. So it takes a tremendous amount of concentration to be able to put that ball down in that situation when everybody in the ballpark knows that you're probably going to squeeze because you're the number 2 hitter and you can handle the bat.
Since Elvis came up, no one has been really close in sacrifices.
Mac, because you definitely don't want to foul the ball off and miss the chance to score the run. Do you say to yourself as the hitter, I'm going to try to bunt it back to the pitcher in case I'm off a little bit, it goes left or right, or you just bunt it where the pitch is?
Ideally, you do want to bunt it back toward the pitcher, because if you're off a little bit, then it's still in fair territory, right. First base or third base. You don't want it to be too hard. You don't want it to be a line drive, but you want to make sure that you get it back up the middle somewhere. You've got to give yourself some room for error, because you're trying to bunt it no matter what. No matter where the pitch is, even if it's right at you, and I've seen that happen a few times.
And what's the key for the runner at third base? If you're the runner, you saw Napoli slide in safely on that ball, bunted right back to him. How do you know when you're supposed to leave at third base?
Well, the key for the runner at third base to not give it away too soon is wait for that pitcher's front foot to hit the ground, because then he can't change where he's going to throw the ball. He's already going to throw it where he's throwing it, and that's when you take off. If you take off before that, then he can hit the batter, and then you've got to go back to third base. Yes, there's another guy on, but you don't score that run. So as that runner at third base, you've got to wait until that lead foot hits the ground.
Here's Craig Gentry, who led off the third with the bunt single. One of only 2 hits allowed by Brett Cecil today.
Yeah, that's one of those things you've got to really sell it as a runner. You know, you want to be looking around and, acting like nothing's going on, and then all of a sudden that foot hits down and you take off.
1-1 pitch from Cecil is grounded foul, and here's Craig's handiwork in the third.
Great bunt by Gentry. Not perfect, not where he wanted. He was trying to push it towards second base, but Cecil's falling off towards third base. So when you've got a left-hander, you've got a lot more room for margin for error there in that instance. And with Gentry's speed, he can pretty much put a ball down anywhere and beat it out.
It's just I think something that makes the Rangers so much more fun and interesting to watch, that they can win a game 12-2 like Friday, and then last night all small ball, but that was what was necessary, and they were able to pull that off too.
Well, this team is very well balanced. They've got power, they've got guys that can hit for average, they've got guys that can play small ball, so this team can do it all offensively.
Brett Cecil strikes out 2, another 1-2-3 inning. Very enjoyable, educational, always when you visit with us, Mac.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right, back to the Matchup of Alexio Gondo, who was allowed 3 hits, struck out 6, and Brett Cecil, who's allowed only 2 hits and struck out 5. Alexio Gondo coming off an 8-inning, 4-hit shutout Tuesday, beating the Angels 7-0. And the top of the order, Escobar, is 2 for 2.
Oh, he just keeps tossing that breaking ball for a strike.
The only other Toronto hits, Eric Thames' single last time up. As the Blue Jays got 2 of their 3 with 2 outs in the 3rd, but Ogando struck out Bautista to squash that threat. The only other base runner he allowed was Bautista with a walk with 2 outs in the 1st inning.
Now, Escobar's had good at bats. Right-handed hitters hit 160 against him, and he's got 3 base hits.
Let's check in with Emily Jones.
Well, guys, the Rangers staff ERA over the last 16 games is a very shiny 2.41, and a lot of credit to be given, obviously, to the pitchers, but also to the guys throwing down the signs as well.
Myself and Nab, you know, we take a lot of pride in what we do behind the play, and then so far it's been great. Like I say, they've been able, you know, to whatever we put down, able, you know, to throw, and not only just throw it, you know, execute, you know, the pitch is down, the song. I mean, doesn't matter what is the count, doesn't matter what is the situation. They've been able, you know, they make the big pitch.
And it seems like, you know, that was a big question mark coming into the season with Matt Traynor leaving and also Benji Molina, but the influx of these 2 guys, Mike Napoli and Yorvit Torrealba, obviously a very good combination as far as the batteries are concerned, guys.
Boy, absolutely right. As Eric Thames flies to Cruz at right for the first out here in the 6th inning. This Ranger rotation, the last 2 go-rounds, last 10 games, 7-1, a 169 earned run average, and a 185 opponent batting average. 1 or no runs 8 of those 10 games, and this would be 9 out of 11.
Well, you can kind of compare it to the first series that the Rangers had against the Blue Jays in April in this ballpark. Blue Jays came in for 4 games, and they averaged 7 runs a game. The fewest runs they scored in any of the 4 games was 5. And so far in this 3-game series, they've only scored 6 runs total. It shows you how well Colby, Matt, and Alexi have pitched, because the Blue Jays are a really good offensive team.
4th highest scoring team in the league. Almost 5 runs per game. 4th in homers. 6th in batting. And the Ogando start in that series, he got a no decision April 28th, but pitched well, 6 innings, 2 runs on 4 hits. Rangers would end up losing 5-2. And 1-2 to Bautista, who has walked and struck out. And still in the series, only 1 base hit, an RBI single in the 6th inning last night, his 3rd at bat. 1 for 6. That one headed to the gap and past Hamilton to the wall. Escobar around 3rd, headed home. Here's the relay, not in time, and the Blue Jays take a 1-0 lead on an RBI double by Bautista.
Bautista saw a lot of breaking balls in that at bat. In fact, the pitch before that, he had a pretty good swing at it, and he pulled it foul. And that breaking ball was timed really well by Bautista. He jumped all over it. Threw the fastball by him the 2nd time up. That time he went with a breaking ball, but Bautista was ready for it.
Scrambles back to the bag at 2nd after his 70th run batted in of the year. And now 1 run on 5 hits for the Blue Jays as Adam Lind 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out steps up. So Ogando finally gives up a run after 8 shutout on Tuesday. First time in the 2 starts, but going back to July 6th. And anybody has scored off of Alexi Ogando. High, carrying well. Gentry is there, out number 2, deep enough for Bautista to take third. And from there, Edwin Encarnacion will try and drive him in.
Gentry's got a strong arm. Had no chance to throw anyone out on that play, but just the way he got the ball into the cutoff man shows you his arm strength.
Encarnacion tonight is struck out and grounded to third. Ogando still firing him in there. 96, 97, 83 pitches, 59 strikes, only 24 balls. 1 walk. That was Bautista in the first, and he's ahead 0-2. So Yundel Escobar, Ogando's thorn tonight, 3 for 3. And his leadoff single here in the 6th, setting the stage for the first run of the game. Not surprisingly, supplied by Jose Bautista. And in the 6th inning last night, the 6th inning, Toronto's big 3-run 4-hit outburst. And this is a long run for Gentry, deep off the wall in left center field. Bautista is home. Encarnacion with an RBI double, and it's 2-0 Blue Jays.
Well, the breaking ball has been a good pitch for Alexi today, but it's also been the pitch that's been hit for RBI doubles by Bautista and now by Encarnacion. Not a terrible pitch. It's away. Maybe it wasn't quite away enough for Encarnacion. He put a good swing on it.
So a Toronto team that had 3 hits total in the first 5 innings against Alexi Ogando. 3 hits, including RBI doubles by Bautista and Encarnacion here in the 6th. And the Rangers through 5 being shut out on 2 hits by Brett Cecil, who now has a lead to work with. First, though, after the visit to the mound by Mike Maddox, it's Travis Snyder. The left fielder is grounded to short and struck out. And in the series now, Snyder 0 for 10 with 6 strikeouts. And he grounds that one fair down into the right field corner. Encarnacion home to make it 3-0. 3 RBI doubles here in the 6th inning, as again the Blue Jays come up with a 3-run 4-hit top of the 6th.
Yeah, again, it shows what I was talking about earlier. These guys can hit, and they've been shut down a little bit in the first 2 games. They did get 4 runs in yesterday's game, but this inning shows what kind of swings they can take. They've got a lot of good hitters in their lineup. Not always shown statistically. Snyder's only hitting .232, but he's potentially a good young hitter, getting better.
Well, here's Aaron Hill, the 7th Blue Jay batter in the inning. He has struck out twice, looking in the 2nd, swinging in the 5th. It's been a tough week, Tom, for the Rangers' 6th innings. It was the 6th inning that the Angels used to overcome that 8-3 deficit in the Derek Holland start. Put up 6 runs and finally win that one 9-8. Here's a check swing roller. And Moreland feeds Ogando at last, the 3rd out of this 6th inning. 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 doubles against Ogando. worth $900 at dinner for two to Sonic Drive-In. And tonight the Rangers are hitting for Desmond Edionwe, I hope, from Dallas. Pardon me, Desmond, if I just butchered your name, but if the Ranger hits a grand slam during this inning, Desmond will win $25,000. You can register at a participating Sonic restaurant. And the Rangers could use a Sonic slam, even a Sonic grand slam here, down 3-0 into the bottom of the 6th inning. It's Moreland, then the top of the order, Kinsler and Andrews, as they continue to try and solve Brett Cecil, who is shutting them out on 2 hits with 5 strikeouts. And Moreland facing the same shift that they have employed against Josh Hamilton in this series, with Bautista moving from third to short right. First time up, Mitch fly to the opposite field to Travis Snyder in left.
And again, it's another example of an extreme shift in the infield, while the outfielders are pretty much exactly straight away. Not playing Mitch to pull if he hits it in the air, playing to pull if he hits it on the ground.
And 3 balls and a strike. Cecil has not walked a batter tonight. This will be his 70th pitch. And a line drive, diving catch by Bautista. The shift works with a spectacular first out, turned in by the third baseman turned extra outfielder.
Yeah, I can confidently say, without exaggerating, that I have never seen that before. Very seldom. I've probably seen that type of a shift, maybe, but to see a line drive base hit taken away on that part of the field, if you saw that, you've probably seen it for the first time, too.
Ian Kinsler going after the first pitch. Pretty deep. Snyder drifting into the corner. Yeah, let's check in with Jim Knox.
All right, thanks, Dave. Texas High School Coaches Association All-Star Games will take place this week. Basketball Monday night, football on Tuesday night over at Cowboys Stadium. I'm with the North and South All-Star teams right here. This is Coach Don Clayton of the South. What can fans expect to see? I guess the future college stars are tomorrow?
Oh, exactly. There's a lot of great kids playing this game, and they'll go to the college level, and, you know, several or many of them may go on to the NFL level, but just a great group of kids to work with.
All right, Steve Warren of the North, the head coach. This game is the oldest running All-Star game, 71 years. Even Tom Landry played in this game. So you're truly looking at a lot of individuals who will be going on to do big things.
Well, we think so. You know, there's been a lot of famous people playing this game, and it's a great group of kids, and we've had a great week.
All right, there we go. Now, the Monday night will be the basketball All-Star game. You can see that on Fox Sports Southwest. Tape delay, 11 p.m. Webcast, foxsports.com live. Then Tuesday night, the All-Star game between these guys, live at 7:30 on the website, foxsports.com. Tape delay, 11 p.m. on Fox Sports Southwest. Who's going to win, North or South? I think that's a little mixture. You got to tune in and see. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
All right, we look forward to that. And in the meantime, Brett Cecil issues his first walk, and it's a 4-pitch walk to Elvis Andrews with 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
Well, Cecil's got a really solid pitch count. He's only thrown 75 pitches. He's got a lot of quick innings, a lot of quick outs.
And that ends a streak of 11 straight Rangers retired. Back to the overshift for Hamilton, who has struck out twice. Bautista back out there in right field, where he robbed Mitch Moreland for the first out of the inning. And Tom, for you to say you have never seen what Bautista did to Moreland, I think that's good enough for me that probably no one has ever seen that.
There's some people that have been around longer than I have, but you know, it's pretty confident that you can say that, because number one, it's very rare that you see such an extreme shift, with the other shifted player being that far out in the outfield, and then to catch a ball that deep and a line shot. I just can't imagine that I've ever seen that before. There's a lot of things I've seen that I can't remember. I don't think that's one of them, though. That's a beautiful play.
Hamilton just does not appear to be picking up Brett Cecil's pitches very well.
You know, in this situation where Josh is struggling a little bit against Cecil, you've got the whole left side of the infield. I'm not advocating a bunt, but if you did bunt, you could almost bunt for a double. If he bunts the ball hard down the third baseline and you're down by 3 runs, he was trying to go that way. That was a good idea.
Speaking of things we've never seen, wow, I would love to have seen a bunt double. Instead, we see out number 3 on the pop-up. And the Rangers' frustration continues to grow against Brett Cecil. Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Check out the Ford F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. Alexi Ogando out for the 7th inning, having thrown 90 pitches and having been brilliant except for the troublesome 6th inning in which he gave up 3 runs on 4 hits. All the runs driven in on doubles by Bautista, Encarnacion, and Snyder. And Rajai Davis trying to bunt his way on to begin the 7th, having popped to short and grounded to short. And after Ogando's 6th inning struggles, Tommy Hunter begins to throw out the Ranger bullpen. First 5 innings, Ogando was shutting out Toronto on 3 hits. But the 6th began with Yunel Escobar's 3rd hit of the game. And now 0-2 to Davis. He'll be followed by Aaron Sevilla, and then again that man Escobar. So there's one issue. Ogando trying to come back out and regain his top form here in the inning. And then, Tom, the Rangers got to, at some point, get something going against Brett Cecil. But he continues a 2-hit masterpiece so far through 6 innings anyway. Two balls and 2 strikes to Davis. Josh Hamilton plays Davis perfectly for the out. And let's go to our Fox Sports Southwest studios now for McDonald's Dollar Drink Game Break. Yeah, Rick Renner, and because of that 9-3 Angel win, Rangers need to win here to stay 4 games up on the Angels in the American League West. Otherwise, in the division, Seattle lost again, 15 straight now. 12-8 to Boston at Fenway Park. And the A's lost as well, 7-5 at Yankee Stadium. Two and 1 to Arancibia. Ogando has handled him so far tonight. A fly to right and a ground to third. 3 homers in the series, 15 for the season. Most among all American League catchers. And a high pop up here. Coming right down to Ian Kinsler for out number 2. .99 pitches now for Ogando. And one more chance here to solve Yunel Escobar. 3 singles. And score the first Toronto run of the game in the 6th.
He's had a good approach. He's laid off close breaking balls, and he's trying to hit the fastball to right field. And he's done it 3 times. Got a good eye at the plate. He's having a good year. He only hit in the 230s last year with the Braves before he was traded. A couple years before that, he hit in the 280s and the 290s. A pretty good offensive player with a good eye at the plate.
Before he went 0 for 4 Friday, he had reached by hit or walk in 25 consecutive games. Bounce back last night. 2 for 4, including a double and a run in that 3-run 4-hit Toronto 6th. Alexi careful with these first 3 pitches to him here. All 4, in fact. And Escobar aboard for the 4th time tonight. That'll bring up Eric Thames, but Ron Washington will come out and get Ogando after 103 pitches, 69 strikes.
It looked like in that at bat that Alexi was tired. Didn't come really close to the strike zone with any of those 4 pitches. And I think that's a good move by Ron if in fact he is going to make a change. Looked like the right time to do it.
All except for the 6th inning. Alexi Ogando untouchable. But Tommy Hunter comes on to try and get the 3rd out here in the 7th. The Whataburger in Duncanville at Camp Wisdom Road near Duncanville Road at 11 a.m. Wednesday. And meet Tommy, as well as sign up to be the Whataburger Whata-fan and register to win 4 tickets in the owner's seats for the Rangers-Indians game on September 13th. And here is Tommy with 2 outs, Escobar at first base. Our Verizon call to the bullpen. 6th outing. And the first for Tommy since his first career blown save and relief loss Wednesday at Anaheim. Allowed an inherited run to score in that game. Got 2 outs, but charged with 2 runs. And they were the runs that brought the Angels all the way back from 8-3 down to their 9-8 victory, ending the Rangers' 12-game winning streak. And with Escobar at first, Eric Thames 1 for 3. He lined into a double play in the first, singled in the third, fly to right last time up. Had a good first pitch curveball for a strike from Tommy. Before Wednesday, it had been since July 9th against the A's. Last time Hunter had seen action. July 5th, he got his first career relief victory. That was against Baltimore, and trying to keep this a 3-0 game for Ogando and hope that the Ranger bats can come alive. Young, Cruz, and Napoli will bat in the Rangers' 7th. And again, Tommy Hunter showing that increased velocity in this new role.
Yeah, I think if he pitches in short stints, he could show that velocity. It seems to diminish the longer he's in the game. But for 10 or 15 pitches, it's there.
Line drive just over Kinsler. Base hit to right. Eric Thames is 2 for 4 for the second straight day.
Now, one thing you have to like the top of this Blue Jay order. Escobar is a 380 on base percentage guy, hitting 300 as the leadoff hitter. Thames hasn't been here all year, but he's hitting over 300. And of course, then you've got Bautista, and add Lynn to that. Really, first 4 hitters can do some damage. You have to pitch carefully at the top of this order.
Bautista grounds the first pitch toward the hole. Backhand pick. Andrews throws him out. Bautista now 0 for 7 lifetime against Tommy Hunter. No runs, a hit, 2 left in the Blue Jays half of the 7th. Stretch time here at Rangers Ballpark, and that includes on this Sunday, God Bless America.
As we pause to honor the men and women of our armed services, both at home and around the world. Tonight, we invite you to join in singing God Bless America with Michael Bortz of the Vocal Majority.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains, through the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Brett Cecil works to Michael Young to begin the bottom half of the 7th inning, and the Rangers in dire need of base runners. They've had only 3 all day against the 25-year-old from Dunkirk, Maryland. Young was the first. He led off the second with a single. The only others were Craig Gentry with a leadoff bunt single in the 3rd, and Elvis Andrus with a 2-out walk in the 6th.
And he's only thrown 80 pitches. He really has been on top of his game.
This is a real bounce back performance too for Cecil. Last time out not sharp at all. And that was 1 week ago, in which he gave up 5 earned runs on 9 hits, including 2 homers in 7 innings. Of a no decision, and Young rolls to the third baseman Bautista for the out. Baseball fans, Chevy is a proud sponsor of youth baseball leagues in your community. If you'd like to learn more about Chevy youth baseball programs, go to youthsportswire.com.
Well, the one thing Cecil has done is he's changed his pitching mechanics for this game. John Farrell, the manager, was critical of him in his last game. And so he's tried to get on top of them more, create more of a downward plane to the plate. And it looks like he's been able to do that. Whatever he's doing, it's been pretty successful.
Cruz chops to Bautista, who handles the first 2 outs here in the 7th.
Rangers have hit several balls hard against him. A couple of long fly ball outs. But other than that, he's been in pretty good command of this game.
The outing before last, which was the 10th of July against the Indians, he went 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 7 base hits, and beat the Indians 7-1 at that game. So this more of a return to form from 2 starts ago for Cecil, who came in 2-4 with an ERA of 5.59 in his first 8 starts.
Yeah, and I guess you'd have to say he's a much different pitcher now than he was early. His first 4 starts of the year got him sent back to the minor leagues with an ERA around 7. But since he's come back to the big leagues, actually for the 3rd time, he's been a lot better. This is his 4th start since that recall.
Cecil last year was a 15-game winner in just his 2nd year in the majors, 15-7. Happily taking all the way 3-1. But Cecil really struggled toward the end of last year. Allowed a batting average in the month of September of 364. And issues his 2nd walk of the game. They have both been with 2 outs in the last 2 innings. Andrus is in the 6th, was followed by a pop-up by Hamilton. We'll see what Chris Davis can come up with here, with Napoli on base with 2 outs as just the 4th base runner allowed all night by Cecil. Davis tonight has flied to left and struck out. And takes the first pitch high. Boy, look at that consistency. Between 10 and 15 pitches in every inning. This is the 13th pitch of the 7th. And should be the last, as Snyder comes in to handle the high pop-up. And now, through 7 innings, Brett Cecil still working on a 2-hit shutout, leading 3-0.
The Rangers trail Toronto 3-0. Dave and Tom, time for the Ranger fan of the game. You may recognize these guys. Last year, 1 year ago from today, they got married here at the ballpark. Dominique and Aaron Rios celebrating their 1 year anniversary. Dominique, how's it been going for 1 year?
It's been going great, man. Love it.
Really? How's it been going?
No, it's great. I love it. Better than advertised. Smooth as ever.
Big-time Ranger fans. Aaron, you guys could have gone anywhere. Why here at the ballpark?
Because we love the Rangers!
There we go. All right, here they are. There we go. Congratulations, Ranger. Fan of the game. Yeah.
Well, some of the 43,117 on hand at the ballpark tonight. And that is a big walk-up after last night's walk-off victory. But tonight, all Brett Cecil and the Blue Jays with a 3-run 6th inning. Tommy Hunter gives up a ground ball, handled to the backhand nicely by Ian Kinsler, and Adam Lind is 0 for 4.
Yeah, that was a tough little hop right there. It wasn't a hard hit ball, but Ian didn't have a choice. He couldn't wait back on the ball for the hop. He had to kind of challenge that short hop. As we've seen countless times this year, he has no trouble throwing while he's running toward second base.
It's 3 games against the Blue Jays. Their second trip in this year, averaging right at about 40,000. And here is Encarnacion, who had an RBI double and scored the 3rd 6th inning run. Before that, he had struck out and grounded to third. Alexio Gondo, another a quality start tonight in 6 2/3 innings. 3 runs on 7 hits. He struck out 6 and walked 2. Through 103 pitches, 69 strikes. But Alexi on the hook right now to end a 3-game winning streak. Remember, he began the year 7-0 and then lost 3 straight decisions and won his last 3 with an ERA of 2.08 coming into this start tonight. Tommy Hunter came in to get the last out of the 7th after he allowed a single to Eric Thames. Another shot handled on the backhand by Kinsler. Let's go down to Emily Jones.
Well, guys, much was made of those 2 losses in Anaheim and the fact that that could be a turning point for the Angels in the American League West. And we've seen what's happened since then. Ron Washington says it's a long season and it's time to be patient.
July, as I said, Anaheim could beat us. We could come back here. We could go on a bad streak, or we could go on a good streak, and they can go on a bad streak. And but you just got to play each day for whoever it is you're playing.
And, of course, this team, very even keel. One of the great things about it, guys.
Boy, how about the infield defense behind Tommy Hunter? Kinsler twice and Moreland on a diving stop here. So an 8-pitch 1-2-3 8th inning for Tommy Hunter. Gentry, Moreland, and Kinsler scheduled in the Ranger 8th. Tomorrow, the Rangers host the Minnesota Twins, and all fans will receive a Michael Young T-shirt honoring the franchise's all-time hits leader. Tickets available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Gentry, Moreland, and Kinsler here in the 8th inning, as Brett Cecil has thrown 92 pitches and allowed only 2 base hits, none since the leadoff bunt single by Gentry way back in the 3rd inning. And he's got himself a 2-hit night as he strokes that one through the hole.
Yeah, the Rangers have had a couple of ground balls between short and third, one by Michael Young, one by Craig Gentry in the bunt hit. That's all they've had. And they've had the leadoff man on base before. Haven't been able to do anything. Maybe the 8th inning will be different.
Well, the previous low-hit Ranger game this year was a 2-hit 6-1 loss on June 12th at Minnesota. Francisco Liriano was the pitcher that night.
Well, they won't be able to pull the same play on Mitch that they pulled last time. They can't have the same shift on with a man on first base.
And Moreland sends this one high, carrying pretty well left center field, but Snyder has room.
Boy, as a left-hand hitter.
And Gentry takes second base.
Oh, that was close.
Barely.
I hope he's okay. He slid in hard and may have hurt his shoulder head first. Either that or he got sand in his eyes. Hopefully that's what it is.
Jamie Reed out along with Ron Washington to check on Craig.
Either that or his head hit the fielder. Let's see. Yeah, it looked like his helmet came off and his head hit the infielder's knees.
And after his helmet had gone off. Wow.
Yeah, that was exactly what it was. Wasn't actually his knee, but halfway between his knee and his waist. As Craig slides and comes up, you can see the collision right there.
So instead of worrying about something involving the skull, you worry about the neck muscles there. Good to see him at least up on his feet as Andy Chavez prepares to pinch run.
Yeah, Mitch against the left-hand pitcher who's pitching such a good game. Mitch has had 3 good at-bats. 2 long fly balls that he just got underneath the left field. Then the line drive that Bautista made the diving catch on in right field. It's been right on every pitch.
Well, Craig able to stay in the game after the hustle gets him second base with 1 out. And he's there for the top of the order, Kinsler, who is 0 for 3. And Ian last time up flied out to Snyder in left. He's also grounded to short and fouled out to first. Yeah, he pops up the first pitch here. Thames toward the line for the second out. Three pitches, 1 per batter from Cecil here in the 8th. The Gentry single, Moreland and Kinsler fly out first, ball hitting. And here's Elvis, who was twice grounded to second, and last time up he walked on 4 pitches. One of 2 walks from Cecil. The other was with 2 outs in the 7th to Napoli. And Elvis first ball hitting as well. Cecil has gone as many as 8 innings 3 times in his career, most recently last August 25th against the Yankees.
Yeah, and there has to be something in the delivery. He's made some tweaks to his delivery that's making the ball hard for the hitters to pick up. I mean, he's throwing the ball well, but it doesn't look like dominating stuff like a 3-hit shutout would show. The breaking ball looks like a pretty good breaking ball, but nothing exceptional. Just looks like one of those nights where the Ranger bats are a little bit off, and he's got a little bit of deception and a sneaky fastball.
Ready now in the Toronto bullpen, left-hander Mark Zepchinski, right-hander Octavio Dotel. Check swing, and he went around, says Brian Gorman. And Elvis tossing his helmet after becoming the 6th strikeout victim through 8 innings. Brett Cecil needing just 7 pitches and is shutting out the Rangers through 8 on 3 hits. Against the Twins at 7 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. And our Nissan pitching matchup will have Derek Holland looking for his 9th win against 4 losses, and Nick Blackburn will get the start for the Twins. Tommy Hunter has worked an inning and a third with 4 groundouts and a base hit allowed to the first batter he faced, Thames, back in the 7th. Aaron Hill, Rajai Davis, and J.P. Arencibia in the Blue Jay 9th. And Hill quickly down 0-2. 0 for 3, 2 more strikeouts tonight. 1 for 10 in the series, 5 for his last 32. So Hunter coming right after him here. And a quick 3-pitch strikeout.
Yeah, he's not that easy a guy to strike out. He's coming into the game, he only struck out 44 times, been up 319 times. The Ranger pitchers had his number tonight.
Boy, Tommy is firing strikes to everybody. 16 pitches, 13 strikes, only 3 balls. And here's Davis 0 for 3. And he looks at strike 1. This will be right on top of the bag. Easiest 3 unassisted you could get. Davis now 0 for 4. The Blue Jays will have their closer, John Roush, ready. He's throwing in their bullpen.
Well, personally, I hope they bring him in. The way that Cecil's throwing right now, the Rangers haven't mounted much of a challenge to him. Well, not that Roush is a soft touch, but a change of pace might be good. I hope they do bring him in. I can't imagine Cecil's not going to go out for the 9th inning and get a shot at a shutout, though, the way he's throwing right now.
Arencibia tonight 0 for 3. He's flied to right, grounded to third, and popped to second. 3 homers in the first 2 games of the series. And this one, trouble if it stays fair, which it does not. It slices foul, and it's 1-1. Boy, it could not possibly be any tougher with Roush than it has been through 8 innings with Cecil. 98 pitches, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. And the Rangers, for the most part, have been going quietly. 1 or 2 pitch at bats. High pop here. Young watches it sail out of play, and it's 1-2. Well, in the Ranger ninth, they have the hitters they would want. And any come from behind situation. Hamilton, Young, and Cruz, 3, 4, and 5. That trio tonight against Cecil. A collective 1 for 9. And that 1 hit was by Michael Young, the first at bat he had back in the 2nd inning. Very sharp relief performance by Tommy Hunter tonight, as he finishes off another 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout of Aaron Sebia. Last chance for the Rangers. Josh Hamilton will lead things off. West Airlines new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Check out the Ford F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. Brett Cecil has never gone beyond 8 innings in his first 2.5 Major League seasons. He's out here in the 9th, and he starts Josh Hamilton with ball 1. Josh 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a pop-up. And the shift is on again. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Roush is ready with the lefty-lefty matchup to begin the inning, and it's 2 balls and a strike. .101 pitches now for Cecil. With a chance at his first complete game, let alone complete game shutout. 3 balls and a strike. Young next, and then Cruz. And 3-2 to Josh.
It just really looks like he has deception in his delivery. They're having, it appears anyway, a hard time picking up his fastball. They're a little bit late on it, fooled by his breaking pitches. That was a pretty good pitch to hit. Looked like Josh was a little bit late on it.
Flips that one the opposite way. So we'll see if John Farrell gives Cecil a chance at the complete game, with the right-handed hitters due next. And his right-handed closer ready out in the bullpen. The 3-2 pitch, dribbled and mishandled, but Cecil recovers and gets the first out of the ninth. Looked like that might roll right up his forearm. He was able to capture it.
Yeah, he was able to stay with it and make the quick flip to first base.
Josh looking over for a moment. Had a glimmer of hope. And here is your answer. John Farrell will leave Cecil in to handle this at bat by Young. Singled his first time up. He has since fly to right, grounded to third.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's going to take him out of this game.
And another ground ball from Young to Bautista. And Cecil now 1 out away.
Rangers haven't had an inning yet where they've had more than one base runner.
Blue Jays have 5 complete games this year. Last shutout was Ricky Romero against the Cardinals at Busch Stadium, June 26, 5-0. So here is Cruz, 0 for 3. If you told us before the game this was going to be a 3-0 game, wouldn't have been that surprising. We just wouldn't have expected this to be the score, not with how Alexi Ogando had thrown at his last outing.
Yeah, if you told me it was going to be 3-0, I'd say that Ogando was the one that was going to give up the nothing.
And that's exactly what Alexi gave up, except for the 6th inning. The Rangers had their second straight tough top of the 6th. 3 runs, 4 hits.
Normally, with the Ranger attack at this stage of the game, we'd be talking about how it was another very solid start for Ogando. He's got a great chance to get his 11th win. But it's not the normal Ranger attack tonight, and you got to give Brett Cecil all the credit. He has overmatched the Ranger hitters tonight. Sometimes that happens. Good hitters get shut down by a great pitching performance, and that's what we've seen tonight.
And Cruz and the Rangers down to their final strike here. Off the fist, still 3-2. Mike Napoli would be next. The Angels won this afternoon 9-3 at Baltimore. So Rangers a strike away from seeing their lead in the division cut to 3 games as they begin a 4-game series here tomorrow night against the Twins. And Cruz continues to extend the at-bat, and Cecil now at 114 pitches.
Now, Cecil's throwing his best fastball as far as velocity goes at the end of the game. He's reaching back for all he's got. Try to finish this game off. Just about every pitch he's thrown in the last 5 have been 93-mile-per-hour fastballs. A young lady that came to the game with a glove and waited through almost the end of the game, and she finally got one.
Pitch at bat and counting. It's Nelly Cruz not being cheated here. Here's the 11th pitch. Bautista, bare hand, not in time, and the Rangers are still alive.
I would think he's going to keep Cecil in there. Napoli is not the tying run, and the next hitter after Napoli is Chris Davis, who's a left-hand hitter. And Cecil's throwing the ball just as well right now as he has at any point in the game. Nelly just put a good at-bat on him, fouled off a lot of pitches, and then got the tapper down the third base line for an infield hit. But he does not look tired at all.
Mike Napoli last time up walked. Before that, he struck out and flied to center. So now a career high 118 pitches from Cecil. Roush ready but watching this entire bottom of the ninth. And again, the Rangers are down to their last strike. One and two to Napoli. Should he reach, Chris Davis would be next.
Yeah, if he reaches after a long at bat, he'll be pushing his pitch total somewhere up to around 125, 6, 7, right around in there if Chris gets a chance to hit. Hope we get to that point.
Blue Jays trying to avoid the 3-game sweep. Rangers were hoping for their 8th sweep of the year. But Brett Cecil finishes off a complete game, 4-hit shutout. Just his 3rd win of the year against 4 losses. And a 3-run top half of the 6th inning was enough offense behind the 25-year-old from Dunkirk, Maryland, as the Blue Jays beat the Rangers and salvaged the 3rd game of this series 3-0. Alexi Ogando sees his 3-game winning streak come to an end. He falls to 10-4. And stay with us. Rangers Live coming up on the other side as Cecil completes a beauty tonight before 43,000 plus.